All right, so real quick, since we're halfway through the tournament, I thought I'd go ahead and record a video. Actually, I was requested to record a video, uh, doing a sort of power rankings of the teams. Now that we've seen, half of the tournaments, I did this. I'm completely unprepared. I really should have like a notepad ready. Uh, so I know early on in the tournament, I would have said Jeb was kind of lower tier. I would have said Strom and Pingu's teams were kind of high tier. Vice's team was pretty good. I think Manu's and Acro's team were pretty mid tier, and I think Medusa's is a bit high tier as well. So I got surprised by Jeb, and I got mildly surprised by Vice, but Vice actually picked pretty good players, so I don't really think that. And he also had a really good spot in the draft. So you got to pick Scorcha, you got to pick Billy. Who's the other person? Artsy. Those are all great players. Now, though, we have some data, and we can start making some scores. So the easiest person to place on my power rankings board is going to be Acro. Acro is going to be in the number 7 spot. And that's just because they've had bad luck and they've had bad plays, right? And when you have that sort of combination of not having players that can carry games that need to be carried, and also you have really bad luck when you are playing with your better players, it's not a really good recipe. Like if you look at their scoreboard, I mean, you just gotten wins by a couple here. Star Matrix got a win. Invest is the only person to win a game that's worth more than 3 points. And Invest has lost a game. Like he's already played 2 games, so it's not too great. Now Claire played 1 game, which she lost, but I think Claire is going to be in a position to try and score some wins up here. That's going to be key. And Acro just played she played in a silent game. That was a bit weird, but she did score points, so that's not that bad. But she's already played 2 games, so you kind of help your captain would have a couple more points than that. Other than that, I really think, maybe Invest can play pretty well. Gabe can play pretty well. Inoki has got to pick up the slack as well. Like, some of their better players, the better drafted players that they have not really been performing. Ginger just lost the last game. That was really unfortunate. I thought he played fairly well, but I don't put that game on him at all. So that's my number 7 slot. Now, if we go back, who do I put in my middle of the road slot? So let's rank my number 4 team. I think that's going to be. It's really easy to say Pingu's team, but I think Pingu's team could actually pull it out and get a little bit better. They have some room. I really should have researched a little bit more. So let's see. What do I put? Let's just go from 7 up. So in slot number 6, I'm going to put Manu's team. So Manu's team has also kind of had the same sort of run that Acro's team has had. They're just a little bit down, and they don't have quite as good a... they have a little bit better track record. This is a little bit healthier looking board. If you look at the personal scores page, like here's the personal score page for Acros. I should go over this. They've got 1 person with 6 points. They've got a lot of zeros still, and these are not players with 0 games. That's really unfortunate. You'd like to see a little bit more of a spread. If we come down to Manu's, it's kind of the same story. Manu can play some games. He can kind of carry his team a little bit higher. So for now, I'm going to put Manu in 5 to 6 tier, basically. You'd hope Tom would win some more games as well. They don't have a player with more than 5 points, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But let's go ahead and let's head over to their thing. So for Manu's going to have to carry. There's just no other way to get around it. Manu's going to have to win like a lot of his games for their team to win. Tom is pretty good. He's got 3 more games, I think. Or is it 2 more games? I forget if they get 4 or 5, but he's going to have to win some games for sure. Sale's done okay. He's got 4 points for himself, but he's going to need to win some games as well. Those are the 2 to watch on Manu's team, I think. Rivstar's been pretty good actually too. I think Rivstar could get some wins, and Vincer's pretty good. Like he's got Manu's team has the talent, in my opinion. Even some of their lesser known players like Geo is pretty good. Electron is pretty good. Dave is okay, you know. Perry's okay. It just depends on the group that he's in. And Mana 27 is okay. I forget who Mana is again. Is that Pepsi? Yeah, that's Pepsi. Pepsi's pretty good. You know, those are all good players, solid players. And I'm sorry if I'm not mentioning you. I'm not trying to say, like, oh, these are the good players, these are the bad players. But those are the kind of players that, like, can take a team like this that's kind of down and ranked a little bit lower and bring them back to contention. And he's going to need that, which is not the place you want to be in. You want to be contending already halfway through the tournament. So those are the two teams for sure that are going to need a huge comeback to be relevant. Let's head back to the leaderboard. I'm not really willing to put Pingu in spots 5. Pingu is a solid at least 4 here, in my opinion. But that means I have to put somebody in seat 5 that I think that is currently doing way better than Pingu's team is doing. So Pingu's team's kind of been uncharacteristically bad. I would have put them as one of my top tier teams earlier. They've kind of had some bad luck too. Benjamin has 0 wins. Pingu and Dev each have only 1 win. Let's check the personal scoreboard for them. Yeah, so they have Monty's doing okay, Joe Schmo's doing okay. They got some 0s. It's not the best. Really hard to avoid putting Pingu lower. I think I'm going to tentatively put Pingu in 4 through 5 right now. And once I've looked at the other teams a little bit more, I'll settle those picks a little bit. But Pingu's also in a position where he's in the pressure spot where he's going to need to carry as captain. He's got to hope Dev can get some more wins and Ben. Mare's pretty good, and Mare can get some wins in here. Yules is so cursed. I feel bad for Yules because if you turn these 2 games into wins, and this game at least, I think should be a win, and the fact that I remember that because I know Yules played that game great, then, well, that's another 4. That's another 8 points they'd have. They'd have 46. They'd be just behind the lead. Like, that's really all it takes is they just need a little bit. Like, they're not. Pingu's team is not that far behind compared to the other 2 teams, in my opinion. Acro's team is really far behind. They're going to need a miracle. They're going to need to start winning, like, a lot. And getting some wins from players that you wouldn't expect as much. Manu's team is also fairly far behind, but they don't need quite as many wins to start becoming back. And Pingu's team just needs a really solid second half to be in contention, right? That's all they need. So it's fairly easy to put Pingu in slot 5. I've currently got him as 4 through 5. Let's look at the other teams on the leaderboard. So currently the team in 4th place is Medusa's team, but Medusa's team is definitely not a low-tier team. I mean, if you look at the point spread between 4th and 1st place, it's not very much. Like, 4th place is only 3 points back from Dice. So ranking the top 4 teams is going to be very difficult, at least in my opinion. So I'm not gonna put Jeb as the 4th team because that's bullcrap. They had a really good start. You know, like, this is one of the most, like, this little stretch here, 6 games in a row. And this entire start here with only 2 losses is just absolutely incredible. And you can see here, it started to fall apart a little bit. You know, they have 7 losses, they have 6 wins, so they're a little under 500 here through the second half of the first half of the tournament, so the sort of second quarter, if you will. And they're going to need to shape that up. You need to do better than 500, in my opinion, during this section in order to win this tournament. You're going to have better than a 500 record, which is, you know, as many wins as losses. So a good streak could really set Jeb up to just have enough of a cushion to win. He could be in the same position he was here by the end of the 3rd quarter of games, by the end of game 36, I mean. Or if he just plays really solidly, or they all play really solidly. Yeah, so I'm not going to put Jeb's team as a team in spot 4. The thing about it that I really like about Jeb's team is if you look at their scoreboard, yeah, they don't have anybody with more than 5 points, but they have 3 people with 0, right? And technically, Desi would have 6 points, but he got a deduction. So, yeah. And I don't think that affected their overall team score, which is really helpful because the deduction that Strom's team got actually affected their team score. So, but this is good. This is healthy. Like, this is what you want to see when you are captain of a team. You want to see a lot of wins spread around a lot of players, because that means you have a pretty good chance, no matter who you send in, that you're going to get some wins. I'd say probably 50-50, depending on who you send in. Now, some of these players, some of these players have a 2-1 record. Some of them have a 1-1 record. So, maybe it's fluke wins, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But I would say that Jeb is in a pretty good spot. I'd put him as my either 2 or 3. That's really the team I've been looking at. Now, when it comes to ranking Strom's team, this is a really unfortunate blemish on them. Professor Rice got. He was. What it was. So he was shot in a game and then he spoke while dead, which is really unfortunate for their team because it counts towards their score. But other than that, this is a really solid looking table. Let's see. I really wish they had it up here where the total number of wins a team had were up there. I wonder if there's a place on here that shows that. I don't see it. Games played. There should be a... Man, that's too many to... This is games played. This is even games won. Maybe under personal score stats. Nope. Well, that's unfortunate. Wish there was a spot for that. Would be nice. Oh, yeah, that's no good. Wait. What is this stuff? Oh, yeah, never mind. So anyway, ranking Strom's team, like, I know a lot of Strom's team, and that's why I liked his team a lot so much in the draft, Strom hasn't even played a game yet. That's a really big positive, because Strom is a very strong player, and I think he can definitely... Like, if he wins all 4 of his games, or 5 of his games, 4 or 5, he's pretty much locked in. Like, he's the only captain that hasn't played a game up till now, I think. Medusa's played a game, Manu's played a game, Pingu's played a game, Dice has played a game. Acro's played 2 games, and Jeb's played 2 games. So that's a really good position to be in. I would put Strom's team as either my number 2 or my number 1 at this point. To win the tournament. I really still believe in them. Like, Bremen's played 3 games, sure, but he won 2 of them. If he can get another win, that's great. Whom else am I looking at here? Left winger's played really strong. So is Maria. Maria's been really good in tournaments. I think she should be a higher pick in the draft, actually. Tyrox broke his curse finally, so hopefully he'll get some wins as well. Grizz got kind of unfortunate. I thought he played fine in his game, and he just got gypped out of a win, which kind of sucks. Side's always good. Rice got... I feel bad for Rice. I don't want to talk drama, but these 2 people... So Fat Midget, his game I think was the silent game, and he got all 4 points. That was really good. I think you send him in again and hope that he can get a win. And Blitzkrieg... Blitzkrieg won as Hitler. I don't know if I'd put them in again, but it was pretty nice for them that they got that. I don't know Billy Bob all that well. Awesomeness got a win, so they're in a pretty good state. They've got a lot of really solid players. Then, as long as they are over 500, I expect them to win this tournament. So, let's go back to the score sheet. Pick a new team. So we've got... I haven't rated Medusa's team. I haven't rated Dice's team. Is that the only 2? Yeah, that's the only 2 I haven't rated. So, I need to pick a middle-of-the-road team. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's going to be Medusa's team. I need to look at Vice's team first and see where I place them. Vice is currently winning the tournament. And you can tell because even though they don't have like a crazy long win streak, right? They have a lot of little win streaks, like a 3-win streak here, a 3-win streak here, a 4-win streak here, another 3-win streak here. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. And the loss streaks are not that long. There's a 2-loss streak, there's a 2-loss streak. So that's what you want to see. That's a healthy team. These guys are well over 500, I think. Again, I can't freaking... I can't tell exactly how many wins over losses they have. But this is what you want to see from a team. Like, if you repeat this, you're pretty much a lock to win the tournament. Theiss has only played 1 game. I don't really know as much about Theiss, so I don't want to say, like, Theiss can carry. Like, I know Strom is a very strong player, and he can carry his team for sure. But Theiss, I'm not so sure about. I know they're good at the game, but they did lose their only game that they played. So, Artsy's really good, but Artsy, I think, has played all their games, actually. That's not so great. Maybe I do put Theiss. Maybe Theiss is kind of thrown as, like, strong. Scorcher's played 3 games. Artsy's played 3 games. I'm going to check the rules real quick and make sure, like, how many games do players get? Because I think it's 3. With the new rules for power-ups, it's actually kind of interesting because you could throw in an Artsy or a Scorcher for a 4th game if you really want to. Somebody like that. So, no. Sorry, I'm just looking through the rules real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Games and points. Must have at least 1 player. Maximum games per player is 4, and the captains get 5, and vice captains as well. So that's good, actually. That's really good because that means that, Strom has all 5 of his games going into the second half. That's really good for Strom's team, so I'm going to keep them where they are. That improves Theiss's chances a lot. If he can, I think he should give Artsy an extra game with his, because each team has basically 1 extra game they can give to 1 player. That's just going to go to the top player. For him, it's Artsy, and I really think that's where I would put it. Artsy's got the most points. Well, actually, Starsheep's played really well too. So Starsheep has had a standout performance, and so has Artsy. Even though Artsy has an early loss. Like, that early loss is not that bad. This is a pretty good team, and I think that unless they've just been riding a high of a few good players, they should still place fairly strongly. Not really. It's hard to put them in seat 4, but that means that Medusa would be my 4th ranked team, and I don't think that's correct either because Medusa's team is also very good. It's rough. Rough decision making here. Let me look at personal scores from. So, I mean, they have 5 people that haven't won a game yet. One of those hasn't even played yet, so that's not. Oh, they have 6. And these are some relatively low scores. See, like, these low scores I'm not as worried about, right? Because there's a lot of one game players so far on Jeb's team, and a lot of people with only 2 games. You know, there's nobody who has 3 games so far on Jeb's team. It's been an even spread. This is kind of what you would expect it to look like anyway. So I'm really liking Jeb's team, and I definitely place it as a higher tier team. In fact, I'm going to actually just update my thing. I think Jeb is my number 2 team. I think they're either going to win it or they're going to be in 2nd place at the end of the tournament. That's my prediction. That puts Strom in seat 1, which means I have to look really hard at seats 3 and 4. Theiss is currently riding a high, but the problem is that they've kind of relied a lot on 2 really strong players on their team. And Billy's been kind of okay, but I don't really know if they have the skill set to close this tournament out. And I think for that reason I'm going to put them in spot 4. So even though they're currently leading the tournament and I'm putting them in slot 4, I could be totally wrong about that. Maybe they should be in slot 3, but let me look at Medusa's team before I make that make a change to it. not Dice's team. I'm looking for Cream Team. This is actually not as good a looking. Got a lot of losses spread around, but it's not too bad. Medusa's won his one game as expected. Andrew's won his one game as expected. Yeah, I definitely think that Medusa's team is like a high 3 or 2, honestly. Like, both of these players still have 4 games left. They both have won their games, and I think that those two can absolutely carry this team to ultimate victory. So, I think I'm pretty happy with my current power rankings. The only thing I'm going to say about Medusa's team is I'm not so sure about the drafting here. Like, he had the middle of the road picks. Jimmy's just been completely dead in this tournament. Beyond is okay. He's gotten 1 win, but he needs to shape up a little bit. Div's off to a good start with 2 wins. If he can get a 4th win for this team, that would be great, I think. The rest, I like Paladin a lot. He's won. Well, technically this isn't a win. He won 1 game in the secret game, but he's scoring points, and Paladin's a great player, so. They have talent. I'm not going to say they don't have talent, but I just, I think they're just going to fall a little bit short. So the current power rankings are 7th place Acro, 6th place Manu, 5th place Pingu. And I really don't even think Pingu's team is correctly placed already. Vice's team is in 4th. Medusa's team is in... Actually, let me just do it like this, right? Like, I just had a notepad over here with my rankings, and there they are. So I've got Acro's team 7th, Manu, then Pingu, then Dice, then Medusa, Jeb, and then Strom. So I still rate Strom as the highest ranking guy in the tournament. I know what this team is capable of, and I know they are capable of winning this tournament, right? And Strom hasn't played a single game. Bremen has 2 more games. He's really good. Left Winger has won both his games, so he's outperforming his expectations a little bit. He was drafted a little lower. I'm not trying to say he's a bad player. He's actually a really good player. I hope nobody takes offense at anything I've said this game. I really do apologize. Maxi lost his game, but Maxi's also a really strong player. He has 3 more games, and so does Morientus has 2 more games, and he's pretty good. And of course, they've still got Maria, who always does good in tournaments. She's solid. Tyrox should win his other 2 games. Side should win her 2 games. And I mean, like, those players enough by their own, the ones I've named here, if they all get those wins, then that's probably enough for Strom to win the tournament. Strom has 5 games by himself. So, those guys can lose, and as long as they're getting wins with some of these other players that I'm not really rating, they'll be fine, and they should win the tournament. That's kind of where I'm still expecting them. Anything could change. It'll be very interesting to see how my predictions are shaping up by game 36. I have a feeling I've underrated some people and overrated others, for sure. So, we will see. But I think that will constitute the fullness of this video. Good luck to everybody, and I've absolutely had a blast recording this so far. And we will see you later.